Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. Man, it's still August, but it's getting chilly. Look, I got my cool sweatshirt on. It is chilly. All right, so I shot a video the other day, and I think I said something to the effect of, and I guess I should just stand still so you can see me. Something to the effect of the floods were overrated. The floods related to Hurricane Harvey. I was premature, obviously. I've been watching a video shot by people, YouTube, and news organizations and things like that. And I have come up with a list of things to consider vis-a-vis flooding, mostly flooding. I guess, though, hurricanes to a degree, but focused on flooding. And the first thing is, don't live in a hurricane-prone area. I mean, that's pretty simple. There's lots of reasons I wouldn't live in LA, Los Angeles, but a big reason is because of San Andreas Fault. Don't live in bad places. I have a lot of people, too, say, you live in the Ozarks, isn't that close to New Madrid? Aren't you worried about that? No, if you look at the New Madrid seismic zone, it doesn't affect me. We might not even feel it when it goes off. So don't live in a bad place. And I can hear the comments, well, everywhere's got a threat of something. Kansas has tornadoes, this has that. Yeah, but a tornado is a really small threat in the big scheme of things. If I was on YouTube, I'd be getting comments, tell that to the people of Joplin. In the scheme of things, a tornado is a small threat, and if you have a shelter, you can deal with that. But hurricanes, they hit the coastline, right? The Gulf and the East Coast. I wouldn't live there. I don't live there. I could live anywhere I want. I don't live there. So that's the first thing, and that's pretty easy. But let's just get to it. Number one, a basic survival skill is to know how to swim. You need to know how to swim. If you have children, your children need to know how to swim. And I feel a sneeze coming. I've taught people as young as 3, and the oldest person I ever taught was 35, how to swim. The 35-year-old woman was the hardest student I ever had to teach to swim. It's just because she had a whole lifetime of not knowing how to swim that I had to overcome. But you need to know how to swim. Stuff happens. You could fall off a bridge into the water, so learn that survival skill. If you live in an area prone to flooding, you live where you live, right? And it's not like you're going to move because I told you to. I've been trying to get people to move forever. But if you live in an area that's prone to flooding, you should have a kayak, or a canoe is even better, or a light john boat or something. They sell at the Walmarts around here and the TSCs and stuff like that, little one-man kayaks for, well, now they're on sale. They're less than $200. I think that includes a paddle, right? I saw pictures of people in kayaks, and they were kind of having fun. No big deal. And it's mobility, and you can carry stuff in it. You can wade through waist-deep water and have a kayak full of whatever, that you're towing around. So there's that. If you have a strong house, in other words, a house where the flood is not going to make the house fall down. Example, in the Houston area, I saw floods where the first floor of like 2- and 3-story brick homes was flooded. But they're brick homes. Man, if I had a house like that, I wouldn't be going anywhere. I'd stay. You're not going to give me a mandatory evac order. Why would I stay? To protect my stuff, mostly. From looters and stuff like that. That's one option. And I guess, the wise move, there's a goat coming to attack me. The wise move is to evacuate ahead of the hurricane. Yeah, that probably is the wisest. It's not like a hurricane sneaks up on you, You know it's coming for days. And you can always leave, go stay in a hotel, Go stay with friends and family, and if nothing happens, come back. No big deal. But there is that. But for the people who get caught short, or it turns out to be a lot worse than they thought it was going to be, and they're stuck there, if I was stuck there in a brick home, you know, a substantial home, I wouldn't worry. I would stay in my house. I would move everything I could to upper floors and just hang out. Now, to do that, you got to realize that if, let's say you live in a nice section of Houston, a 3-story brick home, and the water's come up into, 4 feet up into the first floor, and so now you're up top. You're going to be living like Pastor Joe and Sister Kate, meaning, you got no running water anymore, I'm sure. I'm sure the running water's bad. You have no electricity, I'm sure. You have no security except what you can provide. You're on your own. But, if you have several weeks, and I just put this out in the video, did I not? That you should have at least a month's worth of drinking water, right? And if you have a water purifier, water everywhere, not a drop to drink, you have a good, decent water purifier, something along the lines of a Big Berkey or a Katadyn or something like that. Not a little straw that you sip through, not something that's only going to do 30 gallons. You need a water purifier. You got more water than you can shake a stick at. You should have food in your house anyway. Hang out at home, have a vacation or something. It's an option. It's something to consider. Yeah, I've got gas, food, water, sanitation. Basically, treat your house like a bomb shelter. You should have everything in there you need to sustain life. I say that a lot too. You should be able to stay in your house without leaving for 2 weeks, no problem. Neat bird. So have stuff in your house so that you can stay there. I saw the coolest video of this woman who, I guess there was this section of town, of a neighborhood, obviously it was flooded. I think they may have been relatively well-to-do, and a lot of people had evac'd, and a lot of people had stayed thinking this isn't going to be so bad, and then it's like, oh crap, this is a lot worse than we thought it was going to be, that kind of thing. And this woman was driving around in her pickup truck taking care of her neighbors. She was giving people rides, she was passing out information, she was armed. I dug that. She didn't look like she knew what she was doing a whole lot with her handgun, but she had a visible handgun. Wow. I have a clogged up nose. I know, I do this, right? But I'm walking while I'm talking, so you're going to have to get the commentary. But I smell something like, not diesel, like JP4, which is like, what is that, kerosene basically. It's hard to smell through this nose, but yeah. Maybe somebody's burning trash. Okay. So this woman was taking care of her neighbors. That's a cool thing to do. First you got to be in a position where you're taken care of. But then, man, as soon as you can get out there and help your neighborhood take care of people, that woman is doing a great service. I left a comment on the video about her. God bless that woman. She's helping people out. She could just stay home and hide and not do anything, but she has the ability to go, give people rides, give news, check in on the people. She was doing first aid. She had like a little spritzer thing or something of hydrogen peroxide. She was dealing with people. I mean, she's just like the little flood angel. Well, you could be that, and stuff like that engenders goodwill that can go a long way. So if you can be set up to help your neighbors, we have a plan here, the Shofarians, that, first we check on ourselves, our family, and then we, you got to make sure you're okay, right? Then we check on each other. We have a way to do that. And then we're going to check on the greater community out here and make sure everybody's okay. So something to think about. Are y'all taking notes? It's okay. You can watch it again. I saw a guy walking through the floodwaters, about waist-deep waters, He had I think it was a kayak, like an open top kayak, so whatever you call those. And he had two little kids in there that looked scared to death, man. They were giving the side rail a death grip. I don't think those kids knew how to swim. And so he's walking through waist deep water, pulling these kids. He had what looked like a military haircut, longish on the top, very short on the sides, and he was wearing a chest rig. Now, he was wearing a pair of shorts and a regular t-shirt. But he had a chest rig, and I stopped the video and looked at it a couple times to try and see, did he have like a handgun or something in there, and I couldn't see. But it was just, I thought, that's pretty cool. It's up out of the water, right? Whatever he's got in there. He probably had basic survival supplies, probably had a cell phone in there, right? Stuff like that. Looking at the guy, he looked fairly serious. He probably had a handgun in there somewhere in the back flap or something, maybe just not sticking out there for cops to give him trouble or something. But I just thought that was a cool idea. And then and then I saw people evacuating. I saw boat rescues, where they drive up to the porch and say, "Come on, get in." I saw a big military type truck driving around with either cops or firefighters in the back helping people out and stuff. There was an AP cameraman in there, and some people were pretty squared away, like they were anticipating somebody coming to pluck them out of their predicament. And they had a bag per person packed, looked like carry-on bags, right? That you get on an airplane with. And I'm sure they had important papers and change of underwear and toothbrush and stuff in there. I saw another guy get on the boat, and he had like a big laptop case, right? Probably everything important is on there. And that just led me to think, you should take pictures of all your stuff. It should be on a stick. You should have another copy of that stick sent to another region of the country to a trusted person to hang on to for you. A way to do that is to open up all the closet doors and drawers in a room and just slowly go through and film everything. But, just for a record, right? You can put all your scans of all your important documents on your computer or a stick, same thing. You should do that kind of thing. But so here's these people. They look normal. They're wearing shorts and T-shirts or, regular pants and T-shirts, and they're walking around. And the cops, the rescue workers, and by now the entire National Guard's there, right, from Texas. They don't pay those people a whole lot of mind. Like, they're scanning, they're looking, and they look like normal people. What do you think somebody dressed in multicams with, a chest rig on and a big old camouflage bug-out bag with an M4 hanging off, or an AK, whatever. I think most people are going M4s now. Whatever, a rifle, right, walking through the water. You think they'd get some unwanted attention? You got to be smart about this stuff. It shouldn't be playing dress up, right? You know what I mean? Let's dress up like G.I. Joe. I've talked about this before too. Look normal. Look normal. The guy with the chest rig was pulling it off. And the way he was pulling it off is because he had a regular T-shirt and a pair of shorts and two children with him. So think about, how you present yourself to the world, if that's going to help you or not. Defense. There's looters. There's looters going around. People are opportunistic. The Cajun Navy had a little thing. I think it was overblown. They had a broken down boat tied up to a sign, and when they came back to it, some people were messing around with it, trying to steal it or something. Shots were fired. They tried to make it look like looters came out of the shadows and tried to take over a boat. Come on. But hey, there will be looters, right? And that kind of thing. Again, getting to know your neighbors, checking on your neighbors, keeping an eye out where everyone's like, neighborhood watch with guns. Pretty good idea. So be ready for looters. Be ready to defend yourself. What is that word? It looks like noise, looters. I don't know. Car gear. You should have gear in your car right now. We all know these things, but I know a lot of us don't do them. There are cars that get stuck. They get stuck, they can't turn around, or they get to a place where there's high water, they turn around, they go back the other way, and oops, the water's risen there too. Now you're stuck in your car. You have to get home. It's a multi-mile walk home, swim, jog, whatever. What do you got in your car to help you out? Do you have a raincoat in your car? I know you grab an umbrella when it's going to rain for the day. Do you have like a raincoat in your car? I have a torn up, what is it, Frog's Togs that I keep in my vehicle. It folds up real small. It's used. It's not great. It's not in perfect condition. I was going to throw it away, and I'm like, why? Just throw it underneath the seat. Then I have one if I need one. Hey, even a trash bag would help, right? But, you know, things like flashlight, first aid gear, stuff like that. You should have basic stuff in your car. Okay, be prepared to walk. Yeah, you should always be prepared to walk when you're driving somewhere. So I don't care if you're going to the prom, ladies, girls. I don't care if you're a high-speed lawyer and you wear your nice, you know, shoes and your suit and stuff. You should have stuff in your car to change quickly that allows you to walk, you know, 5-10 miles, right? Which is mostly shoes, but in some cases for women, something different than the skirt or dress they're wearing, maybe. You know, a pair of tights or something you can pull on up underneath your skirt, or, you know, whatever, work it out. But you should have gear that you can put on. Hey, world just changed. We got to walk. We're leaving in 5. You know, get ready, grab the stuff. So think about that, especially winter's coming, right? And a lot of y'all work in offices and stuff like that. So you go out of your warm house. Some of you even have automatic starters on your cars, so it's warm when you get in it. You drive to work and you're like, oh, it's really cold for that 50 feet that you walk to the front door of your office, and then you're inside again. You should have clothes in your car. A really good thing to have in your car along those lines is like one of those insulated coveralls, Carhartt coveralls. Easy to don, pretty warm. Okay, water purifier, I talked about that. Oh, here's something I noticed with all the people wading through the water and getting rescued and stuff. Fitness. It's a no-notice exercise. You know, when you hear that the hurricane is 2 days out, you don't have time to get fit. You just have time to get sore. You could tell people's fitness and lack of fitness by just watching them move through waist-deep water, carrying a plastic bag full of stuff. There was one dude that looked like, you know, he was mildly fit. I mean, he looked like a youngish, you know, probably 30-year-old dude. He looked kind of stout. And I don't mean chunky stout. I mean, you know, big. And he was carrying just 2 little cages with 2 little dogs in one and a little dog in another one. Man, he was huffing and puffing and getting tired. But, you know, who knows how far he walked. And I call it the cowboy boot test. Have you ever, like, moved? I moved a lot, right? You know, college, back and forth to home and around and stuff. And I used to wear cowboy boots. And so you're packing your car and you stick all this stuff, you know, you're trying to maximize space, right? So I would fill my cowboy boots with whatever. The change jar off the desk, you know, the pens or whatever. You know, you stick stuff in your cowboy boots. And then I would carry them out to the car, you know, 2 pairs of cowboy boots. Man, you start walking far like that, your hand starts hurting because it's a muscle you don't use. Well, walking around with a dog cage, you know, like this, that could explain it. But hey, fitness, men, women, fitness is important. Aerobic, strength, flexibility, all that stuff. You can start working on that right now. That's it. Oh, and I said, I made a little note, have 2 months of water in your house. I said 1 month the other day, but if you think a flood's coming, oh, no, that's what it is, 2 months of water in homes. Yeah, they're saying the houses there, that's why I have that note. The houses in Houston, some of them could have water in the house for 2 months. So what's your plan for that if your house is if your house is uninhabitable? What you gonna do? You should have a plan for it. You should have a plan for everything. So that's my little lessons learned so far. Hey, and if you have any more, you can write them in the comments. Hey, I don't like links on my channel. Don't put links on there. Talked about that before. We may be going dark for a couple days, meaning you won't get an update from me. It's okay. Pastor Joe hasn't gone into the bunker and sealed the lid. I've just got something I need to do, and I will talk about that später, later. So yeah, don't worry. Y'all have a good weekend. North Korea. Oh yeah, I should probably talk about that on the way back. Fired a missile across Japan. And have you noticed Trump's not saying anything? You know, the guy who like regurgitates on Twitter? I'm not a prognosticator of much renown, but I'm a little concerned that he's not talking. He normally flaps those gums, right, or types those fingers. He's being quiet. So something could pop next couple days. But you should be ready from the last time I told you about it, right? Wow, I've got this like cold thing going on and I'm a little bit out of breath and I'm not doing anything. That's weird. It's because I'm scared about North Korea, man. I'm not scared about North Korea, which is not the same as me thinking North Korea, you know, they might pop soon. That might go. So be set on all the things, right? And if North Korea goes while I'm in the dark, because I told this to some people in my inner circle, here's what you need to watch for. North Korea itself, unless I lived in Seattle or San Francisco or Portland, I wouldn't be overly concerned. If the North Korea thing goes and I live there, I might take a vacation and move away from there just for a little bit. I don't think he can hit us with a missile, but then again, the fact that he shot a missile over top of Japan and nobody knocked it down, that's a little bit troublesome, right? But if that thing kicks off while I'm not broadcasting, what you need to watch for, you need to keep your eye on China and Russia. Pay attention to what they're saying. Pay more attention to what they're doing. Don't get too bent out of shape if China piles on military and goes south into North Korea, because I think that's what they're going to do if and when we attack North Korea. I think they're going to go down into North Korea to create themselves a buffer, right? That's cool. The tension points are if their southern expansion line is, you know, south of where we think we're going northwise, and then conflict comes. What you need to be aware for is signs that the big boys are going to mix it up. That could be a big problem. Another big problem is if we lose an aircraft carrier. We consider aircraft carriers national assets, and if we lose one, you know, somebody could get nuked, right? So those are the things you want to watch for, and you should be ready now, right? You shouldn't be running out to the store because you think something bad's going to happen. You shouldn't be panicking. You should be ready now. Should be calm and comfortable. Here, you can look at Indy. Indy, the billy goat. He's a little rank. Wish we had smell-o-vision. I got to kind of keep my eye on him because sometimes he gets a little head-buddy. Although he's a pretty good goat for as old as he is. We used to get rid of our goats, our male goats, at 3 years because they just start getting too hard to control. And he's okay. He's older than that. All right. Did I cover everything I wanted to cover? The flood, North Korea firing the missile over Japan. That's a bad thing. I think we're going to do something. How long can this tit for tat go on? Don't cross my red line of death. They cross it. Don't cross my red line of death. Don't cross my... Come on. Eventually somebody's going to throw a punch, right? I think that eventually is coming. Have you noticed how we're not hearing anything about Syria? You think we just quit? Have you noticed how we're not hearing anything about us building up on Russia's borders and poking them? Keep an eye on Russia for the next couple days in case I can't talk to you. See what's going on. All right, hey, y'all have fun. Be safe. Hug the ones you love. And I will see you out there.